Hello everyone, this is Jackie. In this issue, we have an American comedy film, Bedazzled. Elliot was a technical consultant for a computer company. He was a stupid man, and he only talked about the things others didn't like. He wanted to please others, but he couldn't understand why they hated him. Allison was a beautiful colleague who Elliot had been in love for 4 years, but during 4 years, he never dared to say a word to her. When meeting with some colleagues, Elliot decided to say hello to Allison. However, facing with Allison made him nervous and speechless. Allison felt puzzled, said few words and left. The huge failure made Elliot feel depressed. He murmured to himself, "God, I was willing to give anything for her." At that time, a billiard ball rolled through the crowd to Elliot's feet. Elliot picked up the billiard ball and saw a sexy woman in red. She was hooking her finger to call him to come. She told Elliot she knew Elliot wanted to be with Allison. Elliot was surprised. He didn't understand how a stranger could hear his whisper in a nosy nightclub. The woman confessed she was a devil. She had the magic power to fulfill all Elliot's wishes. Elliot certainly wouldn't believe this ridiculous thing. Thought that she drank too much and talked nonsense. But when he just walked out, he was startled by her. The woman seemed to know Elliot's thought very well. She knew that Elliot wanted to be liked, loved, and respected. Elliot was a little flustered, because the woman who called herself the devil was right. She took advantage to let Elliot try to make a wish. Elliot, dubious, said he wanted a hamburger and a large Coke. Then, a bus came. The woman took Elliot on the bus to McDonald's and ordered a hamburger and Coke. In the end, Elliot had to pay for it. Now, Elliot could be sure that this woman was playing a prank. The woman saw Elliot didn't trust her. She immediately got a sport car and took Elliot to a bar. As soon as the car stopped, people took photos and yelled Elliot's name. Elliot was a little excited by the feeling of being noticed. He followed the devil into the bar, where everyone welcomed him. Then, the devil took Elliot to the office and changed everything on the spot. That made Elliot believe she was the devil. The devil took out a thick stack of contract. It was said that he could make 7 wishes. But after making all his wishes, Elliot had to give up his soul. The devil tricked Elliot into saying that the soul was as dispensable as the cecum. It didn't matter. So, 7 omnipotent wishes for a tiny soul was not a big problem. At least for Elliot. Elliot was still calm. Couldn't he be a walking person without a soul? However, the devil was good at driving people's desire. And Elliot's desire was to get Allison. The devil played a video. In the video, Allison and Elliot with long hair were playing on the beach. The devil said, as long as Elliot signed the contract, his dream of being with Allison would come true immediately. Looked at Allison calling him on the screen. Elliot signed the magic contract. The devil gave Elliot a red cell phone. Told him to call 666 if things didn't go as he wished. Elliot didn't have time to consider. He couldn't wait to make a wish that Allison would marry him. And to be very rich and powerful. With a wave of the devil's hand, Elliot's wish came true. Allison of his heart was sleeping beside him. There were countless servants and people in the grand mansion which covered an area of 1 mountain. But Elliot never thought that Allison flirted with her English teacher in public. And he was a notorious drug lord. The English teacher didn't just take Elliot's woman, he also conspired against his brother. Woman was taken away, brothers betrayed. Soon, Elliot had become the leader of the crowd. He was ruthlessly pursued by his subordinates. Before being gonna die, Elliot quickly dialed 666 to return to his original life. The devil said, money was the source of all evil, nothing was perfect. Besides, Elliot only said that he wanted to marry Allison, but didn't say she also loved him. The devil suggested that Elliot should not confine himself to external things. To improve his inner self, found out what kind of man Allison liked. Then, the devil took Elliot invisible to Allison's house. From her diary, her best boyfriend should be a sensitive and sentimental person. So Elliot made a wish. To be the most sensitive and sentimental man in the world. The most important thing was to make Allison fall in love with him. With a turn of the camera, Elliot and Allison were already a couple. As Elliot wanted, he cried at the sunset. Thinking of injured animals also made him cry, extremely sensitive. But Allison was devastated by Elliot's sentimentality. In fact, what she needed was an appearance. She wanted a strong man. The decisive leaving of Allison made Elliot cry. He felt that the devil must be behind it. However, when the devil heard that, she cried. She said sadly that she couldn't do everything. No matter how hard she worked, she was always hated. Elliot was in a daze. He comforted the devil and said it was just a bit of a setback, didn't take it seriously. The devil achieved her purpose. She told Elliot that no one was happy in the beginning. Elliot apologized for upsetting the devil. The devil was gradually getting Elliot's soul smoothly. After the first 2 failures, Elliot understood Allison's needs. She kept saying that she liked sentimental men. As a result, he wanted to be a strong man. Elliot vowed to become a tall, wealthy man. A famous basketball superstar. After a match, a sport reporter Allison came to the dressing room. She wanted to have an interview with Elliot. Elliot excitedly untied the bath towel, but he was shocked to find out that his little brother was as small as a needle. Allison might be a little dizzy, and quickly left. Elliot angrily returned to reality. He was very considerate in making the wish. He wanted to be erudite, handsome, attractive and prestigious, and popular with women. In the twinkling of an eye, Elliot became a great writer. At the party, Allison fell in love with Elliot at first sight and took the initiative to break the ice. But the surprise was when Elliot took Allison home, saw an enchanting man lying on the bed. Elliot quickly explained that he was not gay, and asked for a kiss with Allison. It turned out that Elliot felt helpless. He hoped the naughty devil would stop joking. But how could the devil let him get what he wanted? Elliot didn't really care about what between men and women. He wanted to be a great man and be respected by Allison. Encouraged by the devil, Elliot made a wish to become president. He was assassinated in the opera house in less than 5 minutes. Elliot went to work resentfully. He wanted to calm down and think about how to make full use of the remaining 2 wishes, but the devil said he had only 1 wish left. The first wish was to buy a hamburger. Elliot felt angry and unfair. He ran to the church, trying to let God decide, but the priest claimed to be a servant of God, so he let Elliot tell him. So, Elliot said the deal between him and the devil. The priest frowned and called the police to arrest Elliot as a crazy man. The police also found Elliot was talking crazily. He ordered that Elliot would be temporarily detained and released after the metal check. At this time, the devil dressed as a police and told Elliot not to try to fight her, recognized the reality, and made a last wish. In the cell, a black man told him about the identity of the devil. Elliot said he sold his soul without getting anything in return. The cellmate told him that the soul belonged to God and could not be sold. The devil was just doing evil. Human was not a saint, who could do nothing wrong. As long as you opened your heart and wisdom, you would really understand why you come. Elliot didn't know who he is, but he should have something relevant with God. What the black man told inspired Elliot a lot. He sat at the window and thought for a long time. Finally, he understood. After getting out of prison, Elliot walked on the street, led into the devil's house by a red carpet, looked at those who still welcomed themselves. Elliot had lost his enthusiasm. He didn't want to wish anymore, and he didn't want anything. Life was not like a magic moment could complete dreams and wishes, but about how we achieved them. When the devil saw that she couldn't persuade Elliot, she threatened him with violence. Elliot had no choice, but he had to make a wish that Allison would have a happy life. The devil sighed and released Elliot. It turned out that there was a provision in the contract. If the cursed party made the selfless wish, the contract was void, and Elliot could still keep his soul. The devil had been in this work for 6,000 years, but this was the first time she had met someone who gave up desire. The devil told Elliot, all good and evil, God and devil. In fact, it was people's self-choice. Heaven and hell, everyone was free to choose. After all this, Elliot had understood a lot. He was no longer weak, bold, and secretly in love with Allison for 4 years but confessing. But Allison had a boyfriend, and she was really happy. This result was within Elliot's expectation, so he wasn't too upset. Now, Elliot was no longer that nagging and boring man. He became calm and dignified. Colleagues began to respect him. This also made Elliot feel happy. Came home from work. Elliot met a new neighbor, Nicole, who looked like Allison. He bravely came to talk to his new neighbor. Then, they fell in love and began a romantic relationship. In the end, Elliot and his girlfriend lived a happy life. The devil and the black man sat together and played chess. They were glad that Elliot was happy with his love. We should encourage ourselves to change our aura. It's better to try bravely than to imagine nothingness. Well, that's all for this issue. Don't forget to follow and like the videos. Thank you for watching. See you next time.